Who let the dogs out? Who let them dogs out? Welcome to the Armchair Expert.
Welcome.
Am I allowed to sing that song at the beginning of our intro?
Why not?
Well, the people who own Who Let the Dogs Out go like, come on, you're saying your whole show is Who Let the Dogs Out?
No.
Okay.
The Baja Men, they'll be fine with it.
That's the Baja Men? Yeah. Okay, great. Well,
Baja Boys.
Nod of the hat to the Baja Boys.
Yeah.
And the reason I sang it is because Dog the Bounty Hunter is our guest today.
Yeah.
Our first expert on bounty hunting.
Oh, man. You know, you also could have sang a lot of songs.
Yeah, I'll sing another one. You ready?
Okay, yeah.
Well, it says Snoop first. Snoop Doggy Dog.
That was good. I thought you were going to do Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog.
I ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Yeah, I thought that was what you were going to do.
Hunting all the time.
Yeah. He is hunting. That's a great song for him.
Yeah, I don't think the words are hunting all the time. I added hunting all the time.
You
Yeah,
made it nice.
And he can we just say right out of the gates, if you're on the fence about listening to Dog the Bounty Hunter, because you've seen him bust through doors and stuff, really rivaling my favorite guest of all time. Yeah. It was one of my favorite.
It was really lovely.
It's up there with my mom's interview for me.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I later admitted to you, I've kept researching him.
I know. You've really gone down a real dog hole.
I love him so much.
Yeah.
I really like him. I really thought I was talking to my dad several times.
He reminded you of your dad.
I guess we should save all this for the fact check. This is a long intro. But anyways, Dog the Bounty Hunter, he's so much more than you could ever imagine. What a beautiful ride we took. Oh, let me add one thing. His son was with us. And not Leland or Tim, who you know from the show. A son that he was estranged from for years. And so the son was there, and the son kind of got to hear his dad's story for the first time. And that was a really touching moment as well.
Yes.
So please enjoy. Me and Dog are going down the Telegraph Road right now. Get a good deal. That was a local commercial in Detroit for... Come on, Dog. And please enjoy Dog the Bounty Hunter.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Oh, my goodness. Dog the Bounty Hunter. I got to tell you something. You would never remember this, but I have only approached a celebrity, I think, twice in my life. Mm-hmm. And one was you. You were with Beth eating somewhere on La Cienega, and I was with Kristen, and I was like, oh, my God, it's Dog. And we went outside while you were grabbing a smoke, and I think we came out there, and I just introduced myself to you. Super friendly, very clear you had no clue who I was, which is great. But one of maybe two people I've approached, just had to meet.
I remember.
No.
I absolutely remember, because you did Good Morning America or something, or The View or one of those, and your wife was everybody was getting a divorce but you. And I was like, I told my honey that they're in love.
Yeah.
And she's like,
I can't believe you remember.
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I don't remember everything, but those things, yes.
Yeah.
I'm the same way, but I don't ask for a picture.
Yeah, me either.
But I go up and hi, what's up, because, I like that.
Yeah.
You also went up to Mike Tyson.
No, Mike Tyson came up to me. I then went up to him the next week, and he threatened to kill me. But that's all. He initiated.
He's good.
True.
He's a good friend of mine. So him and my bodyguard, Sonny Westbrook, boxed together heavyweight.
Oh,
so,
no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Now, when I interview people, I'll read their Wikipedia page and I'll watch some interviews. Hands down, you have the most interesting Wikipedia page I've ever read.
Oh,
and I've read
God,
about 300 of them at this point.
Now you're going to make me read that.
What an incredible story. I mean, what an incredible story. So you grew up in Denver, yeah?
Yes, sir.
And Dad was a bail bondsman as well? Oh, he wasn't?
My daddy was a bail bondsman after I became one.
Oh, he was?
Yes.
Okay, so he had been in the military, right?
Navy.
Navy.
Yes, he was a heavyweight boxer in the Navy.
Oh, okay. That's really interesting.
Yes.
He was in Korea, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And so what did he do when he left the service? Like when you were growing up, what did Dad do?
Beat me a lot.
Okay, right. Yeah.
He was a welder and had killed people, on the ship.
Yeah.
In war. Here's how my dad was. His father would tie him up in the woodshed and use a razor strap. So that's just how they were. So instead of the razor strap, he used a belt or a board on me. and the back of my thighs and the butt.
Oof.
And Dad was this kind of guy. I brought one of my bosses to Hawaii, and so he saw all the Koreans, and my boss said, I used to kill these people. I just can't take it. And I thought, oh, great, because Dad's coming in 2 weeks. And so my dad landed. We were driving home, and he goes, did that say Korean barbecue? And I go, yeah. He goes, son, I've got to stop there. And I went in, and Dad started saying hi and talking Korean.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, I didn't know that you spoke Korean. And he goes, well, I don't use it much, son. Because Denver, so
Yeah.
that my dad was that kind of guy.
Was he one of the dads that would talk to you about the war or would not?
No, he would if
He
we
would.
ask him questions. Yeah, he'd like, I don't want to remember that, and he'd answer.
Right.
My mom was Native American. I'm half-breed Apache,
Okay.
Chiricahua. My father, I found out 3 years ago, was not my real dad.
Oh.
And so, but he's my daddy. And
Sure.
so,
Did you do a 23andMe or something? How'd you find that out?
my sister got really ill and soon passed, my little sister. And before she passed, she dropped the bomb on me. Then I never, ever, ever knew. I didn't, but I used to say, this will hurt me more than it does you.
Yeah.
And I'd say, are you my real dad? What the hell? I go to my mom, and who was my best friend, and say, man, this is terrible. And at 14, I moved in with my grandfather. And then at 14 and a half, I was an emancipated minor, and I was like on my own. So my grandpa would get really mad. I went to school to shower, and the bruises were so bad, they called the cops.
Oh, my gosh.
And of course, back then, my dad said, I spanked him. And the cops like, okay, next.
Fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay, right?
Yeah, way to keep them in line.
But she was the first Native American Christian in America, basically.
No kidding. And she was a minister.
Yeah, she never, she taught Sunday school, and she played the piano and organ, but everything. My mom wanted to go meet Jesus.
Right.
Died at 60.
Couldn't wait to get there.
Yeah, she couldn't wait to get there. I'm just trying to stall as long as I can.
Yeah.
But that's how Mom was, so.
So did Mom take you to church a ton when you were young?
Oh, my God. I had to sing and teach Sunday school and testify. And every time something would happen, that's a great testimony, son. We got your book for Wednesday night. Okay.
It's a neat foundation for being a performer on some level.
Thank you.
Yeah, ultimately,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
If you learn to just live out loud and share your story and give it away, it's kind of
Right.
becomes a habit, yeah?
Right. Speaking of that, I was probably 14 or 15 and 13 and got away from that. So I immediately grew whatever this is that you can't speak in front of people because you cry.
Uh-huh.
So by luck, I met Tony Robbins in 81 through the FBI. And so he said, come to Texas, the capital. And I swore I'd never go back to Texas because in 79 I left after 18 months, and you know where.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into that.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And he's like, well, we'll pay you so much. And, not a lot, but back then it was. And
Sure.
I went home, told Mom, she goes, when you leaving? And I'm like, my grandfather raised me by saying, let me look at your signature. And I showed him, and he goes, grandson, you need to write that where people could read it, because I'm going to tell you, someday you're going to be signing autographs. So when people walk up to me and say, can I have your autograph? Instantly, I think I say
Of your
yes
granddad.
every
Yeah.
time. So anyway, Tony Robbins. So I get up there. There's 7,500 people. I can't see them because we're at the stage.
Yeah.
And the curtain starts rolling up like the opera, right? Kind of looking, and he goes, okay, we're going to talk. There's 2 stools out there. And I'm like, F you. And he's like,
You can say fuck
okay.
you.
I said, if you do that, I'm going to cry in front of all these people. He goes, well, cry. We don't care. That makes it better. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? And all of a sudden, as we started speaking, that went away. Then I worked for him from 81 till about 97.
You did?
I was a
Oh.
guest speaker
Oh.
at most of his conventions. I was a freak of nature, convict gone bad, right?
Yeah.
Which meant I was good.
Right.
And so I used to never told thank you by any cop or anybody. Now I am, but back then. And so my mom would say, just wait till you get to Tony. And I mean, they thank you and love on you. So I would do as many bounties as I could just to get to Tony Robbins and think of the stories I was going to say.
Wow.
So him, Martin Sheen, I met, who changed my life.
Oh,
You know,
really?
you know of all people, because I know your
I'm
story.
sober, yeah.
Well, who you hang around with, you actually become. I don't know if that's scriptural or not, but
It's true. Find someone that's got what you want. And,
yeah. So Martin Sheen had that. So I just hooked up with him, and it was incredible. So
Yeah. So going back to Dad, because my dad was not that severe, and he was only around until I was 3, but we would have these contests of will that I was happy to die rather than give him the satisfaction of me crying or me
Right.
caving. So I'm wondering, when Dad was doing that, what was your response to that?
well, I became a good salesman because of begging him to stop hitting me. No, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And if I cried, he would say, like yours, quit crying. And if I didn't cry, he's like, oh, can you take it?
Yeah.
And again, this will hurt me more than it does you. And then I'd look at his face, and he had gritting his teeth and looking real mean. So I would just pray.
And it isn't interesting. We're kind of, even though you're older than me, I got to imagine I'm in one of the last generations where that was a thing.
Right.
That's like, fucking VCRs now.
Yeah. And they used the spare the rod, spoil the child. So biblically speaking, they were doing the right thing.
Sure.
You know, but now, of course, you know, the other day, my youngest is 18. And I said, Gary, if you don't stop, I'm going to beat the hell out of you. And he's like, go ahead, Dad. I got 911 on speed dial. Wouldn't that be nice in front page? Dog beat son.
exactly.
Because we didn't have that. Or Google.
Yeah.
So now, having that kind of a rough enough experience with Dad that you would want to go live with Grandpa, it's not a shock to me that at 16 then you joined the Devil's Disciples.
Correct.
Because honestly, if this is the world and these are the rules, then I'm joining the group that says fuck the world and fuck the rules.
Yeehaw, fuck the law. Yep.
Everything, right? It's like, well, I know how this system works, and I'm a victim in this system, so I'm going to join another one.
Well, the brotherhood, too. The bikers are brothers, you know, like military, Marines, Army, Navy. They're brothers, and I love that. I love the camaraderie, the love, the brotherhood. That's why I got 12 kids, because I just kept making them because, another one I get to love, and another one, and another one. And all of them, but the one is in jail, is with me or around me all the time. So
Yeah.
that's really why I joined, was the girls. Oh, they liked them Harley boys back then.
Sure, especially in the early 70s, right?
Oh, my God. No, hitchhike. It was great. And I like the brotherhood, the camaraderie.
Yeah, so I too sought out a group of guys who, it's so weird. I now recognize it's the last thing I'd want for a son if I had one. But
Right.
I wasn't really getting approval from Dad. So I really wanted some male approval. And I found these group of guys where the crazier the thing you could do was a bigger display of love
Right.
to you. Like we had tests built in, like, Aaron lips off at a bar, I'm first in to swing. That's how I show you I'm there for you. Even if the guy's bigger, these acts of self-sacrifice to really get a sense of, this guy loves me.
Right.
And it's just kind of an intoxicating display of love. And it's so counterintuitive because the acts themselves are not loving.
Right.
They're generally violent or death-defying or drinking too much or doing too many drugs, all that stuff.
Right.
But it was these little tests of being a member of a tribe that excluded most people because they couldn't do these things.
Right.
And I just wonder if that was part of the appeal as well.
No, exactly. And I'm still that way with love. Hawaii, I moved there because it's nice weather. They're natives. But I said, aloha, aloha, aloha. What does that mean? I love you. I said, oh, really? You mean I can say I love you in another word that don't mean I love you? And so I say to people, love you, because I mean that, right?
Yeah.
Don't you feel the
nice.
same, though?
Oh, I do.
Yes.
I do.
There's not too many of us, brother.
Yeah. I love it. Now, you joined this motorcycle club, which the Devil's Disciples are a real club.
Yeah.
They've had some real bad busts especially in Michigan, where I'm from.
Oh, yeah.
I copied it down and sent it to my best friend, Aaron. It was like the last bus had something like 600 guns, 300 rounds of ammo, 1.5 pounds of meth, 1,000 Oxycontin pills.
Wow.
13,000 in cash. And I was like, oh, that used to be safety to me. All those things, that feels safe. Like, oh, we're good.
Well, we were not allowed to do meth because it's the snitch drug, as you know. And in Korea, when they captured our GIs, that's what they gave them to tell everything.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
So you
get real honest on meth.
get real honest. So if you were doing meth, you're out. You're completely out. And it surprises me that there's 13 outlaw clubs in America, the one percenters, they call it. And the devil's disciples might be still, but were. So it surprises me that they would allow, or any organized crime unit allows the meth heads to come in, because they can't help it. It's not they're all rats. It's that drug makes you talk and makes you rat and makes you, so.
Well, they could have just been selling it, not using it, I suppose, because they tore down 3 labs as well.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, in Michigan. What city were you in when you joined?
Well, I joined in Phoenix, Arizona, but they thought I was 19 because I had
You were
fake
16,
ID.
right?
I was 15 starting.
Okay.
And then I had fake ID. You could ride a motorcycle at 14. I had a license. And then I used Polaroid cameras and made the greatest ID you could ever believe. And they didn't find out ever that I was underage, because if I was underage, they raided the clubhouse, which is the house where they all stay.
Yeah.
Then they could have went to jail for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. So I was very scared about anybody ever finding out. And then I became sergeant of arms.
Oh, you were?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
because
that's
I
nice
was like you. Once the fight starts, I'm in there.
Yeah.
And my daddy was a boxer, so he trained me. I stopped boxing in 91. I went to the pros, won the fight in the last one, and quit because of blood pressure. And so I could throw down.
Right.
I took my dad, got to be a black belt. Bruce Lee was my hero. So I can throw down still. And I used to then. So I was there. My president of my club said, I got a nickname when I got my colors, my patch. And they said, we're going to call you Dog. And I was like, huh. And he said, you want to know why? And I go, yeah. He goes, number 1, you're man's best friend. Number 2, you're always there. Number 3, you talk about God so much, we're going to name it. We're going to call you God spelled backwards. And I'm like, and I told my mom, she's like, until you said that, I hated it. So
through the whole ride through the disciples, you still were very religious.
not very religious, but I had a conscience.
You still believed?
Oh, yeah. I'd say prayers because some of the food, I'm like, oh, my God, we don't say the bless again. This we're
asking for trouble.
Yeah. So I did stuff like that or said things that, like I do now, that kind of moral. I'm not like, for instance, Wednesday night, they're going to rob houses, do home burglaries where they sneak in and just get the money. I go, I'm not. Dog, everybody's in church. I go, duh. I am not doing that. That's Wednesday night because they're in church. No way.
Yeah.
I want to ride my hog without both tires blowing out. So stuff like that, I would say.
Right. Isn't it interesting you can have like a code within an alternative code? I always find that kind of fascinating.
Draw your own lines.
Yeah.
Right.
Like carve out, well, I'm still moral because I have these rules within this.
Right.
And because if I recall from your show, which I totally watched and loved, you used to have addiction issues, yeah? Or you never did?
My mom passed in 96. She's my best friend. And I had this girlfriend that said, here, Richard Pryor did this. And I go, what is it? And it was a pipe and a long cotton and some alcohol, different brand. I took one hit, and a year later, I'm like, I didn't even watch the Super Bowl.
Freebase.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. Because then, like, not one, but 4 girls, wow, this stuff is unbelievable. It's like Spanish Fly, as you remember when we were kids.
Right.
So, and then Beth came and said, you're smoking crack. I go, bullshit. And I'm Hawaiian, been in Hawaii since 89. And when the crack epidemic hit, I never really heard of it.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, let me tell you. So she like weaned me and I had a battle a little bit. But other than that, cocaine was a rich man's drug, so we didn't do it. But we did a lot of downers like Reds, Succinol. Quaaludes.
Yeah.
Oh, God. We
Sure.
did Quaaludes like crazy. Psychedelics, we did LSD a lot. Mushrooms weren't strong enough.
Okay.
And I always saw red. Yeah, I'm like, what the hell is this stuff? we could buy a matchbook and, Acapulco Gold and you got a buzz. Today, it is like, whoa, you're in the spirit world after a good joint.
You're right.
So it's changed that much in pot as in the other chemical stuff, right?
Yeah, and what's even scarier is that when you were getting Quaaludes in the 80s, they were Quaaludes made in Switzerland. Now when people buy what they think is Oxycontin or Vicodin, they're buying fentanyl from China, and the dose could kill you. It could kill an elephant. It could have nothing in it. Now it's such a minefield for young people doing drugs. I kind of feel bad for them.
Well, the fentanyl, I learn all the time, okay? And so I had Gary Boy's 18, so he's now on bounties with us. And so we were shooting, and, our new show's on WGN every Wednesday.
Yeah, I watched it last night. It premiered last night.
Did you like that?
Yeah, loved it.
Did you really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great.
So I went and hit a pad, and the dope was across the counter. And I'm like, wow, what is that? And I went to push it in a pile, and Gary Boy's like, Dad, don't. And cops are there. And, don't touch that. It's fentanyl. And he goes, my dad's a little older. Dad, you need to get out of the room right now. We got this thing. And he's 6'4", 265, built just like Beth's daddy. So that's why I left, because he's big. But he's a roarer. He's little Beth, we call him. Dad, right? So the cops, I came outside and I go, sorry. He goes, dog, it's okay. An ambulance driver came the other day. What do you call them? First responders?
Yeah.
And this guy was tweaking out 2 doors down on fentanyl. He went in the yard, almost died, did die later. The
EMT or
died too, because the guy was all sweaty, and as he picked him up, it went through, and the guy died the day after from the stuff.
Oh my!
And I'm like,
that
oh my
potent?
god!
Oh,
that potent.
Oh my
the
God.
great. I've watched a couple documentaries on it recently. They show a penny, the head of a penny, and there's a little dust on the penny. Right? I'm talking covering 1/1000th of the penny.
Yeah.
And it says this dose can kill an elephant.
Oh my God.
And they showed on 60 Minutes a bag that was about like a quart size Ziploc bag. Said this bag could kill the city of St. Louis.
Well, didn't Michael Jackson die of that? What was
He
it?
died of propofol.
Same, almost kind of same bodies. though,
Well,
right?
yeah, but this fentanyl is like 1,000 times stronger than heroin. So it's just the tiniest little bit, like measuring in microns, and it's just crazy dangerous.
The stuff they give at Duane Reed Pharmacy to give a shot when you see that, what's it called?
The Narcan.
In Mexico, they have added the fentanyl to the dope so that don't work.
Right.
You believe that?
Yeah.
So that even if you hit them with it, it kills them.
Yeah. Oof.
I mean,
Yeah, that's the crazy thing is they already have heroin, right?
Yeah.
But then they can cut the heroin up 5 times, and they add a little fentanyl, and then it's even stronger than the pure heroin. It's bonkers what's going on with all that.
yeah.
So I want to know, obviously, the devil's disciple, it takes a turn that you've talked about many times. You are with a friend who goes in to do a drug deal, I'm presuming, and then he shoots the guy, and you're in the getaway car. You get convicted for first-degree murder in Texas.
Correct.
Just tell me really quick, because I feel like I've been in situations where I'm in a car and someone goes in. I'm not really thinking about this or that, and then all of a sudden, like reality, like a light switch clicks on, like, oh fuck, I'm in one of those stories where
Right.
people go to prison.
Right.
He comes out of the house. Do you think, oh, we're fucked, or do you think we might? Oh,
We pull up. He goes, gets a bag of pot, has his sawed off underneath his jacket. We don't know it. We hear boom like that. We're like, what the hell? He comes out. His hand is all bloody. The shotgun didn't have that bottom piece on it, so when it went off, so allegedly, according to him and the jury, he pulled it out and pointed it at him, and he grabbed it, so it hit him in the shoulder right here, right? So I look at my brother's hand or Donnie's hand, it's all bloody. I said, get him to the Pampa Hospital right now. So I said, listen, drop me off at home first.
right, yeah.
First, he goes, I hit him in the shoulder. And I go, what? I got him in the shoulder. He's going to be okay. You got him? He said, yeah, I got him. I had the gun. Where's the gun? I left it there. I go, it blew up in my hand. I said, take me home first. So I get on the Princess phone. Do you remember those that you hang up on the wall?
Oh, yeah.
I call 911, and they couldn't track you back then. And as I hung it up, it didn't hang up. And I'm telling my first wife, Leland, Duane Lee's mom, what happened. I'm over there.
Oh, God.
And Donnie shot this stupid
Oh,
bastard.
Jesus.
No.
Full confession.
Oh, so they hear it all. So I go over there, and I'm standing out, and get a Detective Love, and who is now my buddy. He's 85 years old, still a cop. And Stubblefield, who is also a cop, are standing there. And they bring him out in the stretcher, and he goes, "It was the devil's disciples." And they looked at me and go, "Oh, really?" And Jerry looked up at me because I knew him, right?
Uh-huh.
And he said, "Was it Dog?" And he goes, "No, Dog wasn't here. It was his brothers." Oh, I thought, thank you, Jesus, right?
Yeah.
So I get in the car. They drive him away. 6 a.m. in the morning, the alarm goes off because I worked at an oil field. I was a driver.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, the devil's disciples are being sought for the shotgun sling massacre last night of Jerry Oliver, 1960 Prairie Drive. He's 36 years old. Oh, my God, he died.
Ooh.
And it was on. Okay?
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeesh.
So they arrested me right away because I ran out the door and the cop was there, and I go, "Who are you looking for?" And he's like shaking all over, and he's like, "You don't, please don't move." For what? I said, and I knew anyway I was going to beat it because I didn't even go in the house.
Right.
Didn't see the shooting, so take me, Porky.
Yeah.
So they took me to jail. I got bailed out, stayed out a year, went to trial. And because back then, today it's not the same, I did not call the police that associated. There's no during, before, after in Texas in 75. There's you're guilty as the guy. So bam, first degree murder. Boom. And there's no probation for that. It's 5 to 99. And so I got the smallest, the nickel, 5 years. And off I went to Texas Department of Corrections.
Oh.
Move.
And
How old were you?
22.
22.
A little.
And in your mind, are you thinking, I could end up in there for 20 years? I could end up there. I mean, it turned out that you were in there for a year and a half, right?
18 months. I thought they were giving me 40 because all the convicts in the cells, a dog can give about 4-0.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I thought this is the end of my life, right?
Yeah.
And when I got the nickel, I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Right?
You'll
So-
see your kids.
Yeah,
and
I
you'll-
was fine and everything was great. So I thought this is okay, 5, okay? And then I hit Texas Penitentiary. Like, oh, my
I
God.
can't do 5 years.
Fuck, never. I'll never. I'm escaping. I ain't going to do this shit.
Wow.
Yikes.
And now you have 18 months to think. I guess I'm curious when you make a decision that, you know what, brotherhood aside, I gotta choose a different path. Is that through Tony Robbins, or is that being in prison?
No,
Or when does this
prison.
happen? Prison?
I'm in prison. I start meeting these guys, and they're like, "Dog, how you spell was?" And I went, W-E-Z. Thank you. I go, let me see the letter. Davey, who you writing to? My mom. My God, let me help you do this. Then different things, and people would come to me, and what does that mean in the Bible? I'd explain it, right? Because there's no Bibles in prison.
Oh,
at all.
really?
Oh, no. That's gone. You're done convicted.
Oh,
God
wow.
ain't going to help
I
you
would have
anymore.
thought they would have been like on every
Like
corner.
in the county jail.
Yeah.
Right? No, none. And so I see this guy, I'm in the fields chopping cotton, and they're like, this is work. And I carried sod when I was a kid, which is a hard job. And I'm like, yeah, you guys never seen hard work. Oh my God. You take an Aggie or a hoe and you chop, and then you chop cotton, and you see them big rocks, make them littler. You're like, oh, it was the worst. So a couple weeks in there, oh my God, it was so bad. I see this guy in all starches, white. We all wore white. Texas is the only self-sufficient prison in America. Food, clothes, everything grown there. So all of it was starched up, and I'm looking, and everybody's like, what's going on? They're talking to him with respect. I go, who is that? They go, that's the warden's barber. Ooh, no shit. I said, how much time's he got? He's short. That means he's ready to leave. How much? They said, a couple months, he's out of here. Who's got the job? Anybody. Dear warden, I used to cut hair in the free world. Can I have the job? And of course, I never, ever got a haircut, right? But I had to have that job.
Yeah.
So long story short, I became barber.
This is one of the few things you and I share in common.
That's right.
I also cut hair.
Oh, do you?
Very good. He's very good at cutting hair.
I used to cut all my friends' hair, starting in 7th grade and ending finally when I didn't have time.
So I do the guards, right?
Uh-huh.
So then they start talking to me. And then I start talking to them. And then I start seeing, God, I'm like, man, this is terrible. We're right with you, dog. We're in prison too. I go, yeah, but you get to go home with your wife.
Yeah.
Now, if I had a girlfriend I got to go home with, I would live here. Right. I love it. The camaraderie, still to this day.
Uh-huh.
If I could go home to my old lady, I would live there.
Yeah.
Because, again, the brotherhood and
Yeah.
this is like we are.
You were really
Hollywood.
search for family.
Well, we got it here too in Hollywood.
I always say this is my second chance to go through high school and like everyone.
It's
Not
my
be a dick.
third. Really.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
So anyway, I'm working in the barbershop, which is outside the prison main gate. So Bigfoot, my friend, size 18 or 20 Brogran, boot this big, his mama dies. Now, I was the inmate counselor, so I had to go to all those guys and say, Bigfoot, your mama just passed. But I was busy, so the ward's like, all those mothers still alive, take one step forward. Not so fast, William. Now, that's how he told them.
Oh my God.
And so they're walking him out with handcuffs, putting him in the hole. As soon as your people die, they put you for protection services. They call it rabbit. You grow rabbit, you run. And they put you in the hole for 48 hours at least. So I'm like, what are they putting Bigfoot in the hole for, right? And I saw, I remember the names, Boss Espinosa come out backwards like that and fall.
Uh-oh.
Out of the door, he come running. Huge. He couldn't run. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at him. I hear the 30-30 rifles in the tower. Freeze. I'm like, oh, my God, they're going to kill Bigfoot. And I took out after him, right? Uh-huh. So I'm running. He can't run. I barely got his pant leg, pulled it. He goes down. All of a sudden, behind me, Lieutenant Hilligast. I have spoken to him because I had to put this in the book.
Uh-huh.
And he verified it. And he is the meanest cop in the world. Huge, handsome, killer, a good man. No.
But
you didn't.
strict.
Oh, my God. So he throws the handcuffs in the dust and he goes, hook him up, bounty hunter. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, Lieutenant. No, get out of my way. And hooks him up. So I start talking to him. So I go into the cells, right, back to population. And the warden calls me, he goes, damn, you're such a good barber, we got to transfer you. And I go, why? He said that you ran an inmate down, dog. They're going to kill you. So
he was afraid that
that there's
the other
kill me
prisoners
for running down a guy.
Uh-huh.
So I said, warden, let me make it overnight. I'll be okay. Let me talk. He's like, well, we'll see, but pack your shit, right? Right.
Uh-huh.
And said, okay, why'd you do that? And my shoe shine guy, Ronnie, was black also. And Ronnie was in there. And I said, help me. He's like, fuck you. Yeah. I ain't running out of that motherfucker. I'm like, Ronnie. And so Ronnie's sitting by me and they're like, why'd you do it? He's black. That's why. And Ronnie goes, hey, he's half Apache. He don't give a shit. You know what he was saying? They're going to kill Bigfoot. And he said, he just ran. I got up in the morning. There were envelopes, stamps, cigarettes, boo-boo you-yous and wham-whams as candy bars. And the warden called me right then again. He goes, by God, you got a love offering, son. He goes, your bread is buttered, boy.
Oh, wow.
I was like, wow. So
they recognized it as you saving them.
Yeah.
Dog the bounty hunter was bored.
Oh, so that was your...
Yes.
You're
I was Dog
kidding.
disciple and then people started calling me the bounty hunter. And
Oh,
I'm like,
my God.
Oh, and my favorite shows was Sky King. Who was that masked stranger? The Lone Ranger, Wanted Dead or Alive. Now, you're young, but those are the shows I grew up with. Oh, I wanted to be that so bad. I really do think I'm Batman.
Yeah.
And so that's what influenced my life. And I started looking and reading and I thought they all had a past. They all had a traumatic experience. And then they're good guys. I go, oh, my God, this fits me, right?
Yeah.
So I'm telling the warden one day, he's the big warden of all the farms came in, Warden Jacka, because I had a reputation that he can cut hair. So I was cutting the warden's hair, and he goes, oh, tell me about this murder thing. Did you catch your wife with another man? Because only 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Texas, he was allowed to do that in the 50s.
Sure.
And 60s.
Sure.
So I tell him the story. So he's looking at me a little strange. I have no idea what's going on in his mind. I get done cutting his hair, go to my cell. The goon squad comes and gets me and throws me in the hole. I go, what am I going the hole for, guys? They go, lying to the warden. Next day, they come get me, put me in front of the warden and the major. The warden's like, you didn't lie to me, did you? I said, no, sir. About what? That story. We called Sheriff Roof Jordan. He told me the exact same story you did. What the hell you doing in here, dog? I said, I don't know, warden. He said, well, tell everybody goodbye. February 2nd, Groundhog's Day, was my birthday. February 1st, he told me that. February 6th, they gave me a check for $200 and good luck.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
That's a true. Now, Disney helped me write my first book. So Disney is
They fact check.
like crazy.
Yeah.
I had to get everything.
I don't think my life would hold up to fact check scrutiny, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well,
Very
but
few of
if they're
ours would.
you would believe how much records there really are.
Yeah.
Through your life, right?
When you're in that system.
So
yeah.
I went to the post. I came to Denver, mom and dad again, and came to Colorado to parole because Texas said, get him out of here. We don't want him in Texas. And so I told my dad the story, and he's like, well, you know, you can't get a driver's license. Can't even rent an apartment. You can't do nothing. Like I'd apply for a job or you convict a felony, I put will discuss.
Oh, well,
can't
by the
say-
way, that's a big fat yes.
Yeah, exactly.
We will discuss.
But you can't say, yeah, first degree murder, but I didn't do it.
Right.
Right? Because
Yeah.
they're like, sure. So I went to the post office and got the top 10. That's where they used to keep him. So about 2 weeks later, I get a guy on the phone, run a jive on him, see what prison he's from, get his mama, get him. Bam, I got him.
So you really quick, you just start bounty hunting. You don't. Is there any do you apply for a license to do
Back
that?
then was 79, 80. There was three: Papa Thorn, Batman, and the Lone Ranger. That's all. There was no real.
Really?
So I order a badge, right, from the police supply store, and I go in there. And, right then is when long hairs were undercover narcs, right?
Right.
Yeah, I lost my badge. Is it? I said, I like this one, though. And he's like looking at me kind of strange. He goes, what's your ID number? 271097. Okay, that was my prison number. So I knew that I could remember that, right?
Right.
Still my badge number today.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, 27. You see how quick that comes. Quicker than my date of birth.
And to give people, because I have a very thin understanding of it, generally someone gets arrested, they get thrown in jail, a bail gets set, let's say
Correct.
it's $10,000, a friend goes across the street to the bail bonds place, the bail bonds people guarantee $10,000 if the person doesn't show up, and you probably paid $200 or $400.
10%.
10%. Okay, so you would pay $1,000.
Right.
And they're going to guarantee this $10,000 as long as you return for your court date.
Correct.
And then so often people don't return to their court date.
Correct.
And now that bail bond service is going to be out $9,000.
10,000. You're still paying
Well,
the
but
whole
they
thing.
then they get a grand up
Nope,
front.
that's your fee to borrow the money.
Oh, okay.
Like the bank is 21%, you're 10.
Okay.
Now the court will say you have 90 days before we cash that check.
Mm-hmm.
So if you took collateral, the bondsman's like, you want to put up your house for your baby?
Mm-hmm.
And then they took the collateral. So the bondsman's not ever supposed to lose a dime.
Right.
So then they call me. Abraham Lincoln signed the bill. That's how old it is.
Oh, wow.
Taylor versus Tainter is the law. And you may go state to state, cross city lines. You may arrest on the Sabbath. You don't need a warrant. You kick indoors. And I mean, back then, it was open. Today, certifications, officers training school, so much stuff to become one, right?
Yeah.
I tell people, go be an FBI agent. It's easier. Almost it is, but besides the education.
So $10,000 bail, you're securing $1,000 of that, the person that was arrested. What are they giving the bail bondsman? Back then, there probably wasn't a set thing.
Yeah, it's state law. 10% he gets to keep.
Oh, okay. So basically for a $10,000 thing, you're in it for $1,000 if
Right,
you get him,
right.
get the person.
So then I get him. I get the guy. They pay me $1,000 or 15%.
Okay.
Sometimes I jacked it up because I knew they had collaterals. Back then, but still today, it's 50, 60 grand, 100 grand. That's how much the bonds they run on. The bigger ones run. So you make good money when you catch them, right?
Mm-hmm. And how long was it taking in general for you to track someone down? Could you even say there was a standard?
5 days, most. 10 is the longest. 61, Andrew Stewart Luster.
Oh,
Max
yeah, which
Factor.
you're not, Monica, you're not
so
going to believe this
excited.
fucking story. Okay. I wish I had you for 3 days to talk to
Where
you.
do I
mean-
sign?
So you just start doing it, and then you build a pretty good career for yourself. And you're
Well, I start doing it, and I'm like, I'm going to die like this.
Mm-hmm.
This is okay. So I started doing it.
Yeah.
So I meet the FBI. Some guy shoots it out. I count the shots. I stand up. I go, Ricky, it's me, dog. Dog, my God damn it. Come on out with your fucking hands up. The feds are going to shoot and kill you.
Uh-huh.
So he comes out. They go, wow, you sound like the guy we just took target lessons from. His name is Tony Robbins, but he don't curse like you do. And they go, next day, the Fed called me and said, Tony Robbins wants to meet you.
Oh, wow.
So I go meet this giant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And he's like, you remind me a lot of him.
Oh, boy.
He's straight to the point. He loves you or don't.
Uh-huh.
And he was very nice to me. He said, you're going to come. I want you to speak. Tell me the story. I do. God, I got to have you.
Yeah.
I want you to speak, right? And so I did. So
And we watched his documentary. And I got to say, prior to watching his documentary, I guess, because I'm just a cynic, anybody who's got anybody following them, I'm like, oh, this guy's probably claiming to have some secret knowledge no one can get but him, but he'll dole it out to you, blah, blah, blah. We watched that documentary, and we were both like, first and foremost, he's 100% sincere.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
needed to
Believes
see.
it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's 100% sincere. He's absolutely fearless. Like, he'll just walk right into that audience, and someone will say, their fucking spouse committed suicide 2 hours ago. He's not afraid of that. Let's talk about that.
yes.
So we left watching that documentary going, this is an incredibly fascinating person, and he does believe what he's saying.
Yes.
He seems like a very special person.
Yes. And I lived like he taught. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what he does is like get your mind into that area and you can do any really thing you want to. But Tony kind of started that. If you can dream it, you can have it.
Well, the thing I would imagine that would be really empowering as well, knowing not his entire message at all, but one of the things I gleaned from watching that documentary was thinking of your past as things that happened for you and not to you.
Right.
And I would imagine with your history and story, that could be very empowering.
Well, he'd say like, people like, I don't know how to swim or I got a DUI, my career is over. Dog, would you come out here? And they're like, oh my God, hallelujah, Jesus. They just sort of release that
Yeah.
burden, they call it, I guess, is released from them. And they're like, if dog can do it, I know I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that part of your skill set, again, now this is something that you could say happened to you or happened for you, which is
Okay.
I had a lot of weird stepdads, and I got real good spidey senses about when shit's about to go one way or another. If I have a single gift in life, it's that I'm pretty ahead of when shit's about to go sideways.
Okay.
And I'd imagine with having a mercurial dad like yours, and the fact that you're sitting on this couch proves to me that you've had a good radar of when shit's too much and you need to retreat and when you can go in. Do you
Yes.
think you have a real good sense of when people are starting to get a little shifty?
Yes, 100%. My wife would say, only but not with women.
Okay. Okay.
When they start crying or something, oh, do you really? And then she got a knife behind her back.
Uh-huh.
So, yes, but it's called discernment.
What's it called?
Discernment.
Discernment.
And the Bible says there's so many gifts of the Spirit, and the best one is discernment. And that's you and I do have that. What do they call it now? Profiling.
Oh, okay.
And that's what you and I do. Whether it's physical, talking, asking, because we know that there's like 10 different
There's some
groups
tells,
of people.
yeah.
And then you know what group they fit in, right? And that helps me hunt the human, right?
Yeah.
Is that the profiling or the discernment?
Fascinating. So, okay, so now let's go to 2003.
Okay.
Okay, so Dog is, really quick, prior to the Max Factor case, had you left Colorado? Or were you still?
No, I'm in Denver.
You're in Denver.
I'm in 88. I went to Hawaii.
In 88, you went to Hawaii.
Right. So I'm back and forth from Hawaii to Denver.
And I was curious, just quickly, did you go on vacation there and just go, oh, this is the place
No, I
for me?
went to Tony Robbins' 10-day seminar.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, you're speaking, but you're joining the seminar. I go, no, I'm not. I ain't doing that. He goes, yes, you are. You're going to do that because you need it. And I did it. more times than anybody else in his whole camp. You can do it again. 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 Then he started giving me these little certificates, psychology and this and that. What does that mean? He put it on the wall. He said, when you go in a doctor's office, I go, I can print those and put them up anyway. What does that mean?
Right, so you're a Harvard grad.
Yeah. He made me go, and then I hit Hawaii. And I'm sitting there about 4 times with him, and a local boy passing the food at a big banquet table, and I got 2 forks, 2 spoons, 2 knives, and I say, brother, you're going to get fired. You give me too many forks. And Tony's sitting right there.
He gave me
And
too
he's
many
like,
forks.
hey, one is for salad, one is for knives. I go, fuck, this is a rich place. No, Doc, you need
We're going to be going through silverware like it's fucking
Dog,
potato
you're
chips.
going to the seminar. And so then the flowers. I was in prison, so you had jobs. One was holding, I'm still to this day, I'm scared of heights. And one was holding these big wires up while the trucks drive underneath them. I'm like, electricity and heights. Then it had something that it had horticulture. And I'm like, boom. Wow. So I go in the class and all these flowers around me, and I go, Lieutenant, what is this? And he goes, it's horticulture. And I go, I'm not doing this. And he goes, the hell you're not. What'd you think it was? I go, horrors. I swear to God, just like the knives, it wasn't W-H-O-R, but it was H-O-R. And I thought you're taught to, because they kept telling me, don't fall in love with the first girl that walks up in a waitress and says something nice to you, because you're treated like a scum. So convicts, when they, from Texas at least, when they meet a girl, they're like, oh, so I thought, well, this is to teach us how to not fall in love with whores, right?
That would actually be a pretty good course to teach. Probably. Yeah.
And by the way, yes. So I took that class, and I took it 6 months, and I passed, and I loved all of a sudden planting flowers. Tony Robbins, I took his freaking course, and you can do anything you want. We're standing on the beach in Big Island, and he's like, are you going to go, dog? I go, nope. Why? I said, because I want to stay right here. I'm going to be bail bondsman in Hawaii. I call my mom. I go, Mom, yes. I go, I'm staying. I kind of figured you'd like it there. I go, Mom, I'm going to start a business, da-da-da-da-da. And then Tony's like, come on, man. You need to go. I go, if your shit's real, bruh, I'll tell you in a year.
Yeah.
And I started, and first thing I did is how he says, go get business cards. $25. I had like 300 made. I started passing them out. I'm in a rent-a-car, credit card is full. I'm underneath the bridge. I said, shit, I'll just sleep here. Ring. I had a cell phone, rang, bail bonds. Hi, my bond's $50,000. I've got the $5,000 I need out of jail.
Oh.
I'm like, oh my God. Okay, bro, I'll meet you, da-da-da-da-da. $5,000, boom, boom. I post it. I called Mom. I said, Mom, because I know. Now, Mom had my kids for 3 weeks because I had 4 or 5 babies, and they were there with Mom, right? And I'm like, well, I've got enough to bring the kids. Mom, this is the greatest. And that's how
Well, they saw that you had mono, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was there one time on vacation, and I was pretty overweight, and I was like getting this fruit out of a tree by a waterfall, and the Hawaiian guide was with us. He just starts checking out my body, and he's like, you got mono, bro. And I was like, ooh, what's mono? I thought he was saying a beer belly or something.
It's like a man's
It's like
man.
power. Yeah. It was very flattering because the guy was twice the size of me, and he was telling me I had mono. But so Max Factor, it's like
That's a brand?
legendary makeup brand.
It's like Anastasia is today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, huge like L'Oreal or anything like
Yes.
that.
Okay.
And so the grandson of the founder, or the great-grandson, was this guy, Andrew Luster. He was living on kind of a little trust fund up in the Bay Area, or Santa Cruz-ish?
Ventura.
Okay. He basically was raping girls using GHB. A girl reported him. The cops went to his house. They found videos that he had made videos of him drugging women and raping them. And so when he went to trial, they gave him $1 million bond to get out. And then he fled, and he went to Mexico, and he was gone for 3 years.
Wow.
Well, he got convicted in absentia.
86 counts in absentia
Of rape.
Wow.
of rape. And so how did you become aware of that case, and what?
Okay. We did Secret World of Bounty Hunters for television. Martin Sheen said, you need to be on television. So we hunted down the first reality stars. Ozzy, and Sharon. And Sharon met my wife and said, come in this room. I need to train you. I'm his manager, and here's what the girls are going to do, and here's what the guys do. And listen, Beth. And Beth fell in love with her.
Oh, she's the greatest. Sharon. Oh, I love her.
So we did their show. We started doing TV shows.
Yeah, originally, right, there was like kind of an Odd Jobs reality show,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
it was like
yeah,
a bunch,
yeah.
detail a bunch of weird careers.
Paparazzis and me.
Yeah.
Right.
Trash collectors.
And dogs really popped.
On MTV? Was it on MTV?
No,
A&E, maybe?
A&E, I think. But that was the highest rated. So we started the show right in the middle of it. I said, I'm chasing this guy. I can't stop. So everybody's like, all of a sudden, my popularity started really growing because I started catching Colorado's scum. And I was on the front page of the newspaper a lot. This cop got in a head-on collision. The guy ran. I fixed the cop, put him up, ambulance. Now he looks at me and goes, get him, dog. And I took this son of a bitch out, right? I walk around the corner, and there's my baby standing there with all these cameras. She goes, Big Daddy, smile. No. Right? And all of a sudden, I'm like nationwide, right? So all these punk bounty hunters started, he don't know. He's nothing. He's an ex-con. He's a felon, right? She goes, I'm going to pray God gives us something. So we're on a plane to L.A. She goes, I got it. What? And she read out loud to me a lot. And she said, this millionaire guy that has jump bail, the bail's $1 million. She goes, Big Daddy, he's raped 87 women. I'm like, no. He's convicted, honey. No. Beth, I'm on it. So then I go, Fox News hears about it, and I meet Rita Cosby. And Rita gets on there and says, so, can you catch him? My wife said, don't say how many days. Okay, remember my manager, right? Can you catch him? I go, yep. How many days? I go, 10. And all the articles, nutty bounty hunter comes to television. Freak ex-con felon.
The FBI's been looking for him for 3 years.
Yeah, so
10 days.
With the full weight of the government behind them.
right. So I'm praying. I'm out on the beach. I tell the Lord, where is he? Point me in the direction. So I'm walking, and I'm talking to Mom. I'm like, Mom, this is it. Beth's got to have this. I got to have this guy. You got to help me. And I turn around. I start to walk back, and there's my mother's footprints in the sand. And I'm like, oh, my God, she's with me. Where's my footprint? Oh, those are my footprints. She's like, I'm with you always. Because our feet were the same. And I'm like, oh. So I did the spin around again, and it pointed that way. Well, I didn't know that Hawaii's here, Mexico's here. It's a straight line. So I go Google, look at Mexico. He speaks Spanish. Beth, he's there. How do you know? I know. Okay, Big Daddy. Then a snitch calls us. We got a picture of his leg. I count the hairs around his knee. There's 11. I count the picture. There's 11. I'm like, baby girl, I'm on my way. Howard Schultz, who made, he passed away, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
He comes with me with a film crew, right? So we're hunting, no, nothing. He takes off. You ain't going to catch him.
Let me just really quick. Okay. It is illegal in Mexico. They don't have bounty hunters in Mexico, first and foremost.
Okay.
Also, it's illegal to just go capture a criminal, even if they have bounty hunters, right? You got to get some kind of permit. Okay, so
if you see a felony happening, you can do the arrest. So we get him. I go to jail.
Really quick, how did you find him?
Yeah.
Well, I had the putas, the whores.
Okay.
Because I go to them, not for everything, but a lot. They know everything, better than a barber or a taxi driver.
Sure.
And he was a rapist, so he was due. I knew that. So they're like, oh, we seen that gringo. I go, yeah, has he got the magic dust? Yes, he does. Where is he, baby? So they start telling me. Then another couple says he was just at our house. And I don't know that he GHB's the wife of this guy and rapes her, but she don't tell the husband. I mean, what a story.
Oh my
Straight from God, right?
Yeah.
So we snag him, throw him in jail. We break out of jail. We get
so they capture him and they're driving back, right, to California.
No, we're going to the
you were always going to turn him in there.
2 blocks from the police department.
Oh, I thought you were trying to bring him back to the U.S.
No, because I knew Kiki Camarena. They made it illegal. It was a drug cop that got killed, and they grabbed the killer and brought him back, and they made a treaty right then.
Okay.
So I knew you grab him, you better put him right then. And I knew the laws. I'd go study the laws before I go to any city anywhere.
Yeah.
And I knew if you seen a felony happening. So my crew was, you saw that son of a bitch in that bar, GHB and a girl.
Dosing someone, yeah.
Yeah. So, and he was in a bar. We never saw that happening, but blah, blah, blah.
That was your story,
That was
yeah.
a story.
Right.
So we get thrown in jail. So Judge Pineda is speaking Spanish. I'm like, I got an interpreter. I go, 89 counts of rape, 89 count. Judge is like staring. I go, say it again. 89. He says it again. Judge is still staring. I go, are you sure you're saying the right number? And the judge goes, he's saying the right number. I go, Your Honor, can you believe that? He goes, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And he's a gringo, Your Honor, and I'm a half-breed Apache. Long live Mayan. I'm saying
The
all this. The
mestizo.
judge is like, shut up. Bail set on a Sunday. Get out of here. Well, then we broke out, right? Go to America, blah, blah, blah. The show takes off better because
Really quick, I just want to add a couple
Yeah.
things. So he,
I'm glad
Andrew,
you're here.
gets
Fascinating.
extradited immediately. He gets
Okay,
brought to the
okay,
U.S., which is
okay.
great. They send him, but they want to try them.
Right.
They want to try you and your two sons, right? And they get out on bail in Mexico, and their lawyer says, you need to jump bail and get out of Mexico, which is a beautiful set of irony for a bail,
Yeah,
a
exactly.
bounty hunter to
Yeah.
jump bail,
Yeah.
skip bail. Really quick, because I just have one question during that period. Everything's going fun. I have to imagine bringing your boys into work with you is incredibly rewarding and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But in that moment where you're in the jail cell, do you go, maybe I shouldn't have brought the boys on this one? Or no?
Oh,
They're
yeah.
just like,
oh, yeah. I was like, oh, what have I done? Ruined their life. So I had to
Yeah.
play the jail up. I need a cigarette. Okay, we're going to smoke. Okay, I'll tell you everything. I'm smoking. I go to sleep. Then the next day, they're cuffing this guy and he's throwing down. I'm like, orale. I grab around the bar and choke the guy out, right? And the cop's like, what the hell? And I'm like, fucking put the handcuff key up. And they're like, so they come, they say, why'd you do that? I said, hey, same heart, bro, the law. So then immigration comes and gets me the next day. Where are you going to work? La Migra, Oh, he goes to La Migra. Do we have to cuff you? I go, no, I'm not going to run. Is that a real gun? Yeah, but we buy our own bullets. I'd have to waste it on you. So then they go, the newspaper comes out. If you see this man, buy him a drink. Viva la perro. Viva the dog. So all of a sudden, all these people are outside the jail. Dog, viva la la. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this stuff, right? And so we get out, go here. We're working 3-4 years later, and the freaking feds come get me for jumping bail in Mexico. I go, wait a minute. You won't go get cop killers from Mexico, but Condoleezza Rice signed the damn bill and you're coming to get me?
well, that really quick, that's interesting too. So that you got arrested in Hawaii, right? By the marshals, U.S. Marshals?
Yep.
And so 28 Congress members appealed to Condoleezza Rice, wrote her a letter and said, please don't extradite the dog.
Yeah.
28 congressmen.
Wow.
Right. Did you ever think when riding with the disciples that someday some
Right.
congressmen might stand up and vouch
Vouching
for you?
for
No, a lot of things I done I didn't think I'd do.
Uh-huh.
So then they still don't drop charges. I found grace in the eyes of the Lord and found Judge Pineda's phone number. Judge Pineda, orale, it's dog. I got 2 minutes. Please, I'll take care of everything. See you soon. Oh, what does that mean? We go to court. They say, Mexico has dropped all charges. Oh, Beth is like, Viva la Mexico! Right? In the courtroom, in the federal courtroom. And we're like, and a lot of other things happen. Her and I looked at her, the prosecutor's in the middle, right? And I'm sitting there all cuffed and chained up like a freaking dog, right? And I start going like that with her and I'm praying and she starts rocking, looking at me, right? And this guy's in the middle of us, right? And I start doing that and she starts doing that and this is a true story. They got it all recorded. The judge says, now, let's hear why you want him back. He's like, and he grabs his water and he can't breathe and shit. And my lawyer's like, what the hell? He's dying. And he can't talk. And I say, God, don't kill him. I'm sorry. It's all right. And Beth looks at me and goes, let him die, right? My honey was like that. So, but between the faith between us and the rocking and the the power that we had, the guy was going to die, so he couldn't even object to shit. You know, so then they set a bail for me, $300,000. The judge said, look at him. Even with the wig on, shades, and the cowboy hat, you still know it's dog. Where the hell is he going?
Yeah.
Let him out. So then I wore an ankle bracelet, right? And I had to go arrest these guys. All these states I went to, I had to check in with a parole officer. I was having fun. You know, I'm in New Mexico, not really. Now I'm in Oklahoma, not really. He's like, holy shit. I go, I work for a living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so finally they took it off in 30 days, said he's too. I hit the airports and the feds were there to check on me.
Wow.
I mean, it was like my prey knew it too. And they go, yeah, what's that on your ankle? I'll go an ankle bracelet, same as you're going to wear.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, all right. So then I became one of them, right?
Yeah.
To me, it was never embarrassing. Then they dropped all charges. And then,
No, they determined the statute of limitations had run out. And then everything
but
went
there
away.
wasn't
Poof.
really
Wow.
any. There wasn't any, but
Yeah.
Judge Panetta is a good judge and said, statute of limitations gone, drop charges. Because there's no statute of limitations on a felony.
Right.
Especially 1 year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe
And-
running a red light, okay, but no felony.
Yeah.
Right. And kidnapping or whatever.
Right.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
So after that becomes, front page story everywhere. And then in 2004, you launched Dog the Bounty Hunter on A&E.
Right.
Which ran for 8 seasons, which is incredible.
Yeah.
I watched a ton of those episodes. And a couple different things I thought of while I was watching. I was like, one, it's a kind of a unique situation where it's like some of the people you're grabbing are kind of stoked at you.
Right.
Which is
Yeah.
a rare...
Right.
Right? That's
Right.
kind of a
Bizarre.
neat, like somehow you do straddle that line of, on their side and on the side of the law. And I think that,
Thank you.
so many of those episodes I saw, it's not brute force. It's like you speak to them in some way that they trust you and they know you've been where they're at and they cooperate with you. So it's like, sure, there's the several dudes and pepper spray and all these things, but ultimately I think the unique gift was like you connecting with those people.
Right. Exactly.
And then the car ride to the jail, they were going to get some church. Like they're going to, that's your time to tell them, brother,
Right.
it's time to turn this around.
Yeah.
And what was obvious about it is, the show had this innate, interesting thing of hunting someone and where they're hiding and the cat and the mouse, and that's all built in. But kind of like the Tony Robbins thing. Whether I agree with you or not about your views on God and all these things,
Right.
what I saw was you were genuine and sincere. I believed you, and I believed that you wanted to help these people.
Yes.
And I think that was kind of like the extra layer on that show that made it kind of transcend what it could have been, which is just like cops.
Thank you. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it was really neat. I really, really dug it. And then, of course, what's also innately interesting is it's a family business. So it's his sons, it's his wife, all those family dynamics. I mean, if I were to work with my dad and all these things, God, there's so many questions I have about that. But just one of them is you, dog can never have a gun. You can never have a gun because he has a felony.
Oh, right.
So do most bounty hunters have guns?
Almost all of them.
Yeah, it seems
So it puts you in a
crucial.
really interesting position. Did you ever have the thought of like, oh, well, Leland doesn't have a felony. Maybe he should be armed.
No, my team is armed.
Oh, they are?
Dog is not.
Oh,
Got
okay.
it.
But
Okay.
I have arrested 8,000 felons. and
8,000?
never
My God.
shot anybody.
Yeah.
This idea of the different tribe running from the law and them killing them all is a crock of shit, sissy ass sissy. Where's your taser? Where's your pepper ball? Where's your
Right.
mace? Where's your stuff? I'm trained to kill.
Yeah.
You're fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, you watched it for 15 years. You see him coming at me, full blast, guns, knives, bam, hit him with a taser, something. Now, if they got a gun firing, I duck and my guys shoot them.
Right.
Hasn't had to happen yet.
Yeah.
Because I'm first with the shot. So,
Well, also, it puts you in a position, and I think this is what you see in the difference between like the police in London and say Chicago. Not to isolate Chicago,
Right.
but you, dog, are eminently incentivized by de-escalating.
Yeah.
Because if you start escalating, at some point you don't have a gun.
Well, you can make them fight you.
Yes.
Right.
And so you kind of like, it's a weird reverse psychology where you don't want it to go to the level where people are starting to shoot.
Right.
So you're heavily incentivized to de-escalate. I think it's just a happy accident of your situation that you had to get good at that.
Well, I hate them as I'm chasing them.
Uh-huh.
Hate them.
Sure.
As soon as I catch him, done. That's it. I got him.
Calm down.
Now fix him. Our first show. Or did the rest. Cut the cameras. Now. What's wrong with your foot, Floyd? It's bleeding, dog. What? When I ran from you. Beth, he's got a bloody foot. You hungry, Floyd? Yes. Beth, McDonald's.
Yeah.
She buys his stuff. Keep the goddamn cameras off, I said. Because I'm hearing the Christians. He's throwing his pearls before the swine. So I'm like, don't film this shit.
Uh-huh.
We fixed Floyd, put him in jail, feed him, all this. I'm in New York at the premiere. You know the Bruce Lee movie, Enter the Dragon?
Oh, yes, the best.
And then they start.
Uh-huh.
Right? So, first break, we capture him. I didn't know that red light on the camera means it's still on. I do now.
By the way, another happy accident.
Yeah.
Because again, that's
yeah.
the magic of the show I'm talking about.
Badass. I'm not showing that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, don't mess with doggy. This dog bites.
Yeah.
The second act starts, right? And I go, what's wrong, Floyd? And he goes, dog, you chased me. I cut my foot. I go, you hungry? Yes. She goes, fuck. I told you. I go, oh, sorry. They start, next commercial, she goes, there goes our fucking career in 40 days. God damn it.
And
I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. Show gets done. I'm like, fuck, right, let's get out of here. The Bruce Lee thing. I stand
slow
up, they
clap.
one, and then the whole place, they all stand up. They love you, Big Daddy. I don't know why. I don't either, but just take them out. So I'm like, wow. And I had no idea that was going to be the main thing.
Yeah.
And then remember, I was inmate counselor. So this guy goes, how did you learn to talk to them convicts? I go, it's a long story. Because that's what I did every day. His mother died. His auntie died. The sister, he got a divorce letter. You know, and I just learned to do it. I had a guy the other day go, hey, I had a dream of this. Do I get the backseat ride? I go, fucking A, bro. I need it, dog. I go, I know you do. Where's Beth? I think she should say it. I go, she's not feeling good right now, but you want me to call her? No, you can do it. And they get it and they want it. And then our discernment comes in and you got to figure out quick what started it, what can stop it, what the remedy. And thank God now we got legal marijuana. Thank you, Jesus. Where I won't get in trouble for prescribing pot anymore.
Yeah.
And now I've almost got it where when they walk out, someday I'll be able to say 99.9% have changed their life. And Clinton, I met him standing in line, and I'm not a Democrat so much. And I was standing in line for 3 hours in the sun in Hawaii, and he looks at me, big guy, right? And he looks down, he goes, wow, what's your name? I said, Duane Dog Chapman. And what do you do for a living? I go, I'm a bounty hunter. You are? He goes, there's something so unique about you. I'm like, thank you, Mr. President. I was like, obviously 50 years later, whatever it is, I'm still talking about it. So the Lord told me, you like that shit? Now, so do they when you say you need to change your lives. Now, you're I waited for this. I'm going to do on my new show a celebrity ride-along. Of course, you're the first one invited.
Okay, I'm in.
And I'm going to catch them, and then I'm going to say, here, you know who that is? And they're going to see you and go,
well, let's hope. It could be really embarrassing for me.
No. Well, I'll make sure they know you first.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We can do it. It is television.
Go through their DVDs and make sure they own one thing.
We can do that, and then I'll let you loose on them. And imagine you or Sylvester Stallone, you guys' category and caliber, to tell the guy, listen, man, here's my cell. If you feel like doing a load, call me. I'll talk you out of it. Yeah. Imagine that.
Oh, yeah.
So with the show now, we're going to do a celebrity ride-along.
Oh, that's cool.
Not every show, but once in a while.
Yeah.
Because that works for these guys.
Yeah.
Clinton, I'm still talking about it.
I've changed a lot on this. Whereas I used to see other built men with tattoos in kind of aggressive wardrobe as threats.
Mm-hmm.
And I now have come to realize that I was a victim of a lot of dudes growing up, be them stepdads, dads,
Right.
whatever, predators. I, from day one, was sending us a visual cue to the world. Don't fuck with me, I'm dangerous. Don't fuck with me, I'm dangerous. Don't fuck with me. Because
Right.
I don't want to be hurt. And I want to send as many signals to you as you're going to have your hands full with me. And I now look at other guys like that and I realize, oh, you guys were hurt really bad too.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just projecting, but I think you have that too. I think with the dad,
Right.
I think you made yourself intimidating as fuck so that you didn't get hurt.
Yes.
It's weird. It's counterintuitive. It's not, oh, these people want to enact pain. It's they don't want to be hurt and they're
Right.
trying to show the world. So it doesn't surprise me that you wanted to show where you were a bad motherfucker and tackle people and got people no one could get.
Right.
And that you were scared to show the side, the dog that wants to help you and wants to extend a hand. And I think it's beautiful that you were rewarded as I have been. Every time I've put the fucking badass in a corner
Right.
and shown the guy that is very loving and will die for you.
Right.
That's the stuff.
That's a great thing. You're exactly right. But we both know and remember, you want to rumble? We can.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's where we get the faith.
Yeah.
Because I'd much rather hug. Bosco calls me, you fucking dog. What's up, someone? Whoop your little ass. I'm like, why, Bosco? You fucker, you ruined my life for crime, doggy. I did. I ate one Twinkie last night. Not a real Twinkie, but... And, you know, it's Twinkie. It's called snack. Ate one Twinkie, had sex with my woman, went to sleep. You fucker. And, dog, I love you, brother. I love you too, Bosco. You know what? Bethy was here then. She goes, why are you crying? I go, Bosco just threatened to kick my ass. She's like, fuck you. What are you crying for? You better run. And I told her, she's like, oh.
Yeah.
So, and I felt, wow, this feels just as good
Yeah.
as the day we took, three of us took Bosco down.
Yeah.
And we got Bosco, you know, and it felt better to hear him say, you ruined my life for crime.
Yeah.
I love you, dog. So, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And for me, it really took the intervention of Kristen to go like, hey, you know what stories I don't love is your fighting stories. I love the stories where you got someone sober.
Mm-hmm.
I like that about you. And she had to be like a megaphone for me to hear like, oh yeah, you don't need to be that other guy all the
Right.
time. Did
Right.
Beth help you, for lack of a better word, show your soft side?
No, because Beth,
She was a pretty tough customer.
yeah,
too.
she would be like, did you see how that guy just did? And I'm like, TV, you know, movie or something. I go, yeah, that's a real hero, Big Daddy. Oh, you think so, bitch? Wait till you get a load of me, right? Next time he's got a gun and shit, I go, step out of my way.
But you know what that says to me?
Huh?
That says to me, that's a woman that also grew up a little scared, some threats around, and wants to be with a man that can keep her safe. I think that's also like,
Oh, yeah.
for a woman to be attracted to a guy like you, even me in some respects, it's just as sad on their side.
Well, Beth had, since she was 10, Beth hated vans because they'd pull up to her at 11 and 12. My little Bonnie, same way, inherited that from Beth. Bonnie's now 20. And Bonnie at young, Bonnie went to a private school, all girls, and I still had to call the teacher. What are you doing talking about my little daughter's breast, you pervert bastard?
Yeah.
And she's like 13.
Yeah.
So, yes, you're exactly right. Beth grew up like that.
Yeah.
And back then, there weren't
She
very
could just
many
probably
girls.
feel the animal energy.
Oh, yeah. So a lot of guys, especially the older guys, right? And she was very young. So you're right. She liked that. And I would do things on purpose to get in a fight or... you
Show
know,
her she was safe.
to show her, baby, don't worry. You're
Yeah.
with Big Daddy.
So
Good.
I would do similar things, and my wife finally said to me, and I thought I was showing to her, you're safe always, right? And she told me one day, she said, you know, I don't feel safer. I feel like everywhere we go, something might happen. And I'm like, huh. I'm getting the opposite reaction I thought I would.
Right.
So like, I actually feel like when we're out, I'm scared that you're going to get into trouble.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm trying to make you feel safe. So maybe I need to
Right.
kind of redirect this. You have a thing, I would imagine, that happens to Burt Reynolds. Told me this great story. I did a movie with Burt Reynolds. He said that he became friends with Rocky Marciano. They used to hang out all the time and drink. And he said they were at a bar and he's sitting on a bar stool and Burt's hammered. And he starts looking at Rocky and he's thinking to himself, God, if I nail him right now while he's not looking, I think I could knock him out. I think I could knock him off this bar stool. He said, I'm in the middle of thinking about this, and Rocky Marciano turns to him and says, Bert, don't do it. Yeah. And he goes, don't do what? He goes, don't do it. He goes, how'd you know what I was thinking about? He goes, because everybody thinks that when they're around me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it does, it's counterintuitive. It's like fighters get fucked with a lot at bars. You know, professional athletes, people are trying to earn their stripes. So I imagine you do attract a bit of guys trying to win glory.
Everywhere, not just to be here, I almost left it in the car, but I pack everywhere.
You should, because Monica's much tougher than she looks.
You know, I just met him at Bubba Fest a week before he died.
Oh, Bert?
Yeah, and I took an FBI agent with me to meet my moonshine friends. They about had a hard time. Another story, but it was great. He loved him. They loved him.
Yeah.
And he sat for 2 hours with them. His dad was a sheriff.
Yeah,
so
in Florida.
Keith, my FBI buddy, was like, Burt Reynolds just died. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
What a great guy.
Sweet guy. Yeah. Now, okay, the last thing I want to talk to you about is the hardest thing to talk to you about, but you're in a very precarious situation right now, which is you and Beth are a team. You've been on 3 TV shows together. It's part of what everyone loves about you.
Thank you.
Again, we're seeing that sweet side of you, and it's nice. That salty and sweet combo is nice. We like it. Food and everything else. And so you guys have done the new show, Dogs Most Wanted, and Beth got sick in 2017. Seemed like she had beat it. I am assuming you must have had the moment where you're like, okay, we're cancer free.
We're great. Yeah.
She had throat cancer and had a tumor removed, maybe?
Correct.
Now, when they said we're good, I just want to say, not that it's comparable, but my dad died of small cell carcinoma. He was 62. So I was on that ride of diagnosis, and then 3 months later, just right like they said.
Comes back worse than ever.
Yeah. So when they told you in 2017, we're good, cancer-free, did you believe that? Or was there always a voice in your head going?
I believed it, because we had it a lot longer than anyone knew. And she was afraid to say anything. Then one day she goes, I'm telling them. All right, you sure, baby? Yes. She said, it's only temporary, Big Daddy. Really? Yes. I'm going to have faith it's gone forever. Go ahead. But I'm telling you. So she knew or felt that it wasn't
It was
gone.
back for a real.
She felt it wasn't gone.
And I saw in that first episode that I watched last night, you're sitting with her on the couch, and you've taken her along. You want her to stay active. Tony Robbins says, do your thing, always do your thing, which is great. And then she starts taking CBD. And then this was the hardest part for me with my dad. It was the ebbs and flows of it, where it's like, oh, it looks optimistic. Oh, fuck, it's back.
Yes.
Oh, it's up. I found that to actually be the most challenging part. I feel like if you tell me, hey, someone's dying in 4 months, in 2 days, I can compute that. I can come up with a game plan. But it's the up and down, and boy, it looks good now. Now you're gaining optimism. And then also trying to ride that line of, does my partner or my loved one want me to be dead honest with them?
Right.
Or do they want me to join the hope train?
Right.
But it's hard to know what role you're supposed to play, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I chase felons, and I watch them, and that's what the doctors are. Because like Beth Cedars-Sinai here, okay, did the immunotherapy, didn't work, said she's not responsive if we do it. They take a piece of cancer out, and they cut it up and then put it in all these jars. If it bubbles up and dies, that's it. Bam, they hit you with it. Nothing, okay? Ooh. So when she's in the hospital the last time, she got the thing in her. She's in an induced coma, and he walks in and tells me, well, that'll work. I go, no, it won't. Cedars-Sinai is a lot bigger than Queens Medical. And they're one of the best in the world. Well, they're all making mistakes. And I'm like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, starting to sell me a hog, right? Okay. And then he says, but there's one drawback. And I go, what? And he goes, well, it's for 6 weeks, 2 times a week. I go, that's the drawback? And he goes, well, it's $150,000 per treatment. And I'm
Oh
like,
my!
I wanted
God.
to deck him right there.
Oh
Yeah.
my God!
And so I called her other doctor and I go, listen, I am going to burn that hospital to the ground. Check my record. And I'm going to kick his ass. You better tell him. Because my one daughter's like, Dad, Mom could live. He's like, she could get another year. We'll put a tracheotomy in her throat. I go, my sister's a nurse. My best friend right there, Karen's a nurse. No, you don't. You got to pump. You got to oil. Beth would have hated it.
Yeah.
So they're trying to talk me into this stuff.
Well, and it's the worst possible thing because they're
Scam.
basically saying to you, "Oh, do you care about money
Yeah.
more than you care about your loved one?"
They
Yeah.
scam you.
Yes.
And then I say, wait a minute. She did the first chemo. She could not move her pinky. Honey, I'm dying. I go, no, you're not. Yes, I can't do this yet. She went from 165 to 138 to 122. I called the hippies. Bring in the shit, right?
Right.
One day. She woke up, nothing to eat for 9 days. My lady's Italian. I'm hungry. What? I want an egg, honey. Her sister starts crying.
Yeah.
She goes and fixes it. I seen her start getting better. By then, allegedly, though, it was too late. I tell the doctor, do you know this stuff works? Well, you know, we study Western medicine,
Yeah.
and we're not really, his body language is like lying like hell, right?
Yeah.
We're not really allowed to talk about it. And I go, why not? It works. Oh, I get it, doc. Your treatment's $150,000. A bag of pot is $300. That's good Buddha. That's the good pot.
Yeah.
The THC, the CBD. Deepak Chopra, right? You know who's that? Ask him what's better. He's the smartest IQ, like unmeasurable, right? But the pot worked. I seen it work. I seen her laugh and smile and start putting on weight. And then I seen her get worse and worse, right? Because it was too late.
Yeah.
If we just started the pot a lot earlier, or not the pot, but the CBD.
CBD.
And THC treatments, it would have had. I have 40 years done this. Never arrested a man or woman for smoking a joint and beating their spouse.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yes.
So,
Yes.
but it's such a, you can't do marijuana. No, but you can.
No, yeah.
call
If
your
you
neighbor a
evaluate
motherfucker, right?
the deaths caused by alcohol consumption versus weed, it's a laughable statistic.
Laughable. And I
Yeah,
can't
or
drink.
emergency room visits and all that stuff. You go to the emergency room past 10 o'clock at night, everyone in there is drinking related.
Drinking and shot. But I cannot drink unless I'm well supervised, so I don't much at all.
Right.
Because I have no conscience, instantly, right?
Yeah.
My lady's like,
Yeah.
she could drink and you'd never know it.
Well, I got to say, my last week of drinking 15 years ago was in Kauai.
Oh,
I'm like, I don't want to drink with all the tourists. Let's go to a local bar, right? So night one at the local bar, it's great. I'm on TV. They fucking love it. It's a party. I'm there, Second night, I'm like, does anyone know anywhere to get Coke? This guy's like, yeah, bro, I can get Coke. Just down the street. I'm like, okay, let's go down the street. I leave my buddy at the bar, and it's not down the street. It's 6 miles away down this road. He's driving. He's hammered. The girlfriend's in the back seat. She owns the car. He's fucking driving way too fast. Radio's loud. He's got the beer still between his legs. I am just turning the radio down saying, bro, you got to slow down. Right as we go into a turn, one of those flash fucking rainstorms that happens in Hawaii. It's just raining cats and dogs. We go into this turn. Dude loses control. We do spin around 3 times, hit the guardrail with the bumper and back, smash that, somehow end up going straight. He's ecstatic. Bro, I pulled it out, bro. And I'm like, fucking, we're in that situation because you're driving too fast. And I turn the radio down. We go through a stoplight at the next little town. Cop sitting in the convenience store, pulls us over, sitting on the side of the road. I've been in Hawaii 2 days. I'm already now with a dude who just crashed his car on the way to get Coke. Blah, blah, blah. I'm kind of looking in the mirror like, this is you on vacation, man. You're already like, so the cop comes up. He totally knows him. I get so much of the culture there in 2 seconds, right?
Right.
He's like, I forget the guy's name, but the cop's like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be driving. Get in the back seat. Amy, whatever the girl in the back, you drive the car, right? So he's not going to fuck with this. He doesn't want to deal with it. The girl starts driving. I think we're probably going back to the bar. No, we're just going to still go to the dealer's house. Go to the dealer's house. He's told them on TV. 4 huge dudes run out to meet me. They're picking me up. They're fucking celebrating.
Right.
Ends up, I buy ice. I don't even have Coke. It's just Crystal Mouth. Go back. Fuck it. I got ice. Smoke ice. Go back to the bar the 3rd night. And I have this moment, and it's what you're talking about. I have this moment where I look at my friend Dean and I go, the thrill of having me here is over, and someone's going to fucking knock my head off my shoulders tonight. Like, I can just feel the atmosphere.
Right.
Everyone's hammered. The fun's over. Now it's time to beat the fuck out of me so they have a story.
Right.
And I just realized, I'm not in a good place. And I do maintain we got out of there right in the nick of time. I could just feel the energy changing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me that you're blending well down there.
So
that's
then
kind of a dicey.
when did you say this is it? I'm done drinking.
That trip, I went on to smoke the ice for 3 days. I did all this other shit. Just a terrible. I came back too sick to fly. Had to have 3 Jack and Diets to get on the plane to San Francisco. I had to have 5 more in the airport to get on the plane to LA. I'm in the airport. I'm like I'm at the bar. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm nervous someone from AA is going to see me. I'm also already on TV, and I'm just hiding in this corner. I'm about to start a movie making the most amount of money I've ever made. And I'm like, I'm the most miserable I've ever been in my life. I have everything I want, and I literally want to kill myself. Something is broke. Something's very broken here.
Right.
And then that was 15 years ago, September 1st.
The one you love now, the real love, is she drink and party?
She doesn't. I mean, she will, but in general, she doesn't. It's not her thing.
I need lessons from her. Bro.
Yeah, I'm like, just genetically, she's not a monster like me.
Right.
Well, as soon as I put something in, it's just like,
But it's
I need
the
all of
old
it.
saying that, the positive and the negative, the two magnets, when they're both positive, they push on each other. And when you flip them around, it's good.
Yeah.
No, I respect you a lot because you're a good actor. You're high mucka, but I see her smile and your smile and the way you treat her and the way she treats you, and that's how I am with mine.
Yeah.
And I see that she loves the hell out of you and you love her, and I see that. I love that. My wife loved you guys because loves, and they're not past tense, but she, so I respect you so much because I needed this right now.
Yeah.
I needed that, someone like you.
Yeah. We share this in common that, like, my identity is very much her and I, especially publicly.
Right.
And your identity is very much you and Beth.
Oh, yeah.
So you have the one layer of just heartbreak of losing your best friend and your wife and your partner. That's identity shattering.
Right.
And then you're a thing.
Right.
You guys are one thing. And you got to now imagine what your identity is without half of you.
Right.
And that's got to be terribly frightening.
Well, and I Googled it.
You did.
And it says you adapt, you get smarter. She used to tease me. You stole me from the cradle from 18 years old. I had her till she's 51. And I'd say one word, and she knew what it meant. Because she's like, let me do it, Big Daddy. You're too aggressive. And then she became way more aggressive than me, right? No. And so now all of a sudden, I'm like, she's not there to say. Because I'd say one word, bonus or something. Okay, now is there a bonus involved in this if we do a special? One word. And now she's not there. So I have to do it.
Yeah.
And Google says that you get smarter
when you're forced to
deal with it. Because I still go, you need to do, what time you need up for the morning, honey? I got to get up at 6:30. All right, let me set the alarms. I'm setting the alarms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I don't,
it's all those little
I don't
tiny
have to order
things.
shit at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm not old, but I want to turn on my cell phone and everybody's going to look at me, especially the girls, go, fucking dog's getting older, look, he's blind. Or he wants to be seen, that's why he's got a light on. You know how we get there,
yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. And then I'm afraid to say to Jillian, what are you eating? So what I've been doing is listening to my brother David or someone at the table. What do you want, Doc? I go, you go first. And then I'm like, fuck, I'm so lost.
Yeah.
But I'm getting better. But it's like I depended on her for so much.
Yeah.
That
you're probably not even fully aware of it until it's gone, like you're saying, right?
No,
it's
you're
just
not.
probably
and
just
when you're around people, especially like you're strong. And then all of a sudden you're all alone, or you wake up and you go 2 minutes without realizing she's gone. And then you feel like shit.
You feel
right?
guilty, right?
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
like, oh shit, this morning I got up, right? The alarm went off that I set on my freaking phone, stop here, I can't even reach it. And then I'm like in the bathroom, I'm like, I'm gonna get a shower. I know I got coffee at Starbucks last night. Everything's okay. And I'm thinking, and all of a sudden I'm like, fuck, she ate here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because, what a terrible shit. The Bible says, and the last enemy that shall be whipped is death. I'm on that fucking team. When he does that, I want to be right there because it is freaking hard. And then I thought this morning, oh my God, she could have never handled this. No. And then
If you had gone, yes.
oh
if you
yeah,
had
she
died.
couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
She would have. She'd fucking be so sad.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, I had a dream. I have visions, and she's in heaven, and she looks up. My God, Big Daddy's gonna love it here. Look at all the animals. I'm like fucking looking around the corner. Where are they? And then she's watering the garden. Looks exactly the same, watering. And I used to sneak up on her. Boo. And she would try to sneak up on me, but I'm Apache. You can't do that, right? Some have, but not me. And she tried almost every day. And so I went, boo. And she turned around and laughed. She goes, Big Daddy, what took you so long? And started crying. I'm like, fuck, would I jump off a building because I'm afraid of heights? No, I'm afraid to do that. Would I shoot myself? Can't do it in the head. Do you do it in the chest? What the fuck do I do? What if the natural Baptist shit, you kill yourself, you go to hell?
Right.
I can't do that. So what I've said and what I'm developing is wait till you see Dog Without Beth. I swear to God, I'm wearing a seatbelt. I'm so sorry, I'm crying.
I love it.
And I'm not going to jump in front of a train, but I ain't afraid to die no more. And a lot of reasons I didn't go after certain people or go through them doors is that, not the fear of death, but what if I leave her alone
Right. Right.
and she finds another man and he's better to her than me, and then she marries him. Fuck that. I ain't no more.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to die. And it's, the fear is gone. Yeehaw. If it happens, it happens. So,
Yeah. The one thing I was just going to say is my mom lost her husband of 20 plus years May, but the year before. Because Beth died May.
June
Oh, June.
26th.
Okay, June 26th. I've watched her over the last, 17 months. It takes a long time to process. It's like she'll have a period of like 3 months. She feels good. Then she feels guilty that she feels good. Then she accepts that it's okay. He'd want her to feel good. And then I'll go, oh, wow, she's kind of out of it. It was like a really rough year. And then no, she's folding clothes one day and he's supposed to be in the yard. And then it's 3 weeks of feeling really sad.
Right.
And it just, no matter what, I think it's so hard to comprehend.
Oh,
It's almost impossible to comprehend. In best case scenario, it's going to take years to really process what happened. And yet you're asked to go out on the road and promote this. You have partners. People have made this show.
right.
You owe them something.
Families depend on you.
Yeah.
Families.
Right. And so you got to do it. But I would imagine there is some temptation to put the interviewer at ease, like to go, but it's good because I'm blank. I try to imagine being in your situation, and I imagine going places and having to do that, and then going like, hey, man, I can't put a spin on this for you.
No, you're right.
I'm at the fucking bottom
You're
of a
right.
pit, and that's that. And I'm sorry that that's what it is,
You
but
got to say that.
yeah.
I saw a picture of me the other day and I was smiling. And I'm like, fuck, I'm so sorry, Beth. And God said, you're going to smile. So get over it. My chief told me, man up. Stop that. So I got all these things happening, but yeah. And then here's what happened. I have some guy doing my driveway. My lawyer friend says, this guy does driveways cheap, right? And so I call up and I say, hi, is Tom there? And she goes, no, who's this? This is Dog Chapman. She goes, hi, Doug. And I go, no, Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Hi, Doug.
Yeah. And she goes, Dog the Bounty Hunter? And I go, yeah. And she goes, you know my husband? And I go, no, so-and-so, Carlos gave me the number to call you. And she goes, oh, Carlos, yeah. And she goes, Dog, he died 2 weeks ago. And I go, Oh my God. Dog, I'm so lost. I go, oh my God. And she has no idea Beth passed.
Yeah.
So I'm like talking to her, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And by the way, I just lost my Beth. No, you didn't. Then she starts counseling me. Oh, wait a minute, lady. You're on the couch. I'm on the chair. Right? No. And all of a sudden, before we hung up, she was my age, sound like. She goes, you know what? This is morbid to say, but I feel a lot better right now. And I go, ditto, morbid as hell. You want to meet for lunch? Yes. And now I'm afraid to meet her because what if the widower likes the widow? No, it's spooky. So I'm like, I stalled her. I hope she ain't listening to this. And I stalled her. So I'm going to L.A., right? Because I'm afraid of her now.
Sure.
But it's
Yeah.
nice to connect with people who are going
Yes.
through the same thing. you're
Well,
going
yeah.
Well, by the way, it's just, I think the power of it is you can feel very alone in your despair.
Well, and when you're helping others,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
problem gets a lot. It's like my grandpa used to say, you're really negative, son. You feel bad about it? Yes, go to the strip joint and meet a stripper and talk to her. And I used to once. Came home and said, God, Grandpa. He's like, see there. And this was, of course, in the 60s.
Sure.
But so when you meet someone that's got more problems than you do,
It's hard to think about your own.
yes.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why we go through some of the stuff we go through.
And you are giving someone the gift. When you are honest and you're vulnerable, you're giving someone the gift of the freedom of their problem.
Right.
It's like kind of how AA works. It's like,
Right.
I walk in that place and I've got 9 problems and I think it's the most important thing in the world. And then I listen to another guy and I go, things are okay.
My problems are great.
Yeah, I'll take mine over theirs.
Well, and I would with Beth because I'd be like, my leg right here has, I've got a bullet carrying and da-da-da-da. And so my leg hurts. She's like, you want to trade? So I'm like, quit saying I had a headache, quit saying my tooth hurt, quit saying my leg hurt. Because every time I do it, she's like, you want to trade? And she was the kind of girl that, dummy up, man up, honey. You're all right.
Right.
I mean, she would never say that, but she meant that a lot.
Yeah. Well, dog, your story, I got to tell you, I've interviewed, 150 people on here. This is the craziest story ever. And
Thank you.
It's really a beautiful story. I'm heartbroken for you that you're going through what you're going through, but
Oh, thank you. Well,
I think
this
you're being
helps a lot.
honest, and I don't think you're hiding it. And I think that's where, in my humble opinion, that's where the problems are. I just think when you own it and you don't isolate yourself in it,
Right.
that's always the step forward, I think.
Thank you.
And again, I watched the show last night. It's fucking awesome. I'm going to watch all of them.
Thank you.
Dogs Most Wanted. It's on WGN,
Yes,
right?
sir.
WGN?
America, yes, sir. WGN America.
WGN America. It premiered last night, and it's everything you've always loved about Dog the Bounty Hunter with, a very emotional and poignant story underneath all of it. I just got to say, from the outside, I was drawn to you because you run through doors and will tackle anyone. But I like you and respect you because I saw how loving you were with your children and your wife, and I just think it's...
I love you, and I know you're badass, but you love her. We, birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
So I love you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Aloha.
And now my favorite part of the show, the fact check with my soulmate, Monica Padman. Snoop Dogg, get down. I'm getting so
That was
pervy.
sensual,
It
man.
was, right? I'm glad you concur. It was too pervy.
It was on the edge.
Do you want me to try to go even pervier?
Okay.
Do you think this grosses the audience out or they like it? Because does it give them embarrassment? Oh my God, I'm so glad
they're
I
not
just...
staring at you.
I just thought of something. I thought of it last night. It's an update. What were you just craning your neck at? Oh, you're
Trying
chewing.
to not chew in the microphone.
You're eating one of my world famous smash burgers.
It's so good.
I brought a sack of them with me today to spoil you and Wobby Wob.
Yeah.
Wob had 1, you're on 2.
Spoiled you did.
Oh, so I thought of something yesterday. I was in the bathroom last evening and I was doing that thing I tell you about where I was trying to embarrass myself.
Oh,
And
I want to see that.
Well, and what I realized is I did leave out a key ingredient because you were kind of like, how do you just embarrass yourself, right? So what I do is I get to like the grossest level of weirdness, and then I do imagine someone saw me. That is part of it, and I left that out. 'Cause last night I was doing it in the guest bathroom, right?
Okay.
And you can see into the kitchen. from the guest bathroom. And
Yeah.
the door was open because it was just me and the kids and the wife.
Yeah.
And so I was in that bathroom by myself doing very weird dances and singing.
And singing.
Oh, it was so gross.
Okay.
And then I tricked myself into thinking out of the corner of my eye saw someone in the kitchen.
Who?
Like someone just stopped by. It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. You didn't have a person in mind?
No, I don't pre-select the person.
Oh.
It's just someone I wouldn't want anyone to see me doing it.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
I want to see it.
Boy, if you blast a brown town in front of me, I'll do it. That is the deal.
Not fair.
Yeah, if you rip a little.
Yours doesn't
Little dark
yours
air.
isn't really risky. Mine's risky.
No, what do you mean? You could never see me the same. Like if you see me like with buck teeth in the mirror, making some gross voice and gyrating my hips and shaking my shoulders.
That's how I picture you always.
Okay, well then maybe it is less risk.
Yeah. Mine's very high risk.
I don't picture you stinky.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I work hard to make that the case.
You
I actually
work
don't work
hard.
very hard at it.
You don't?
No,
Well,
I-
you use a native deodorant
I
to
do.
clean up the pit smell.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And you,
And I use Hello Bella wipes. I do use Hello Bella wipes.
You do.
I do.
I love Hello Bella wipes. I use them all the time.
I know this has turned into an ad, but
No,
yeah.
but it's the truth.
It is really the truth.
And you know what I was thinking is we're finally going to be in Canada. Hello Bella's finally going to be in Canada.
Which is great.
It really is because so many Canadians, they're privy to all the ad stuff, but then they couldn't get them, but now they can get them. And you know what? I was like, oh, good. Next time I go to Toronto, I don't have to pack wipes and buy them there.
And Canadians have stinky butts.
No.
They need the wipes.
Our beautiful
big
neighbors
time.
to the north have beautiful smelling buns. Everyone's bee bum smells like maple syrup up in Canada. That's why it's on their flag.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, nice, rich maple syrup. So anyways, you basically, Friday, you walked out of the attic,
Yep.
got in a car and drove to the airport.
Yep.
Then you were gone for 2 days.
2 days.
You got home from the airport, got in a car, and had to come directly to the attic
I had
again.
about 15 minutes in between. I ate a cookie.
Oh, of course
at my
you
house.
did. Of course you did. Because we decided you really are a cookie monster.
Monster.
Monica,
get that?
yeah, monster,
Okay,
Padman.
yeah.
But
Monica.
because you have a rich history of stealing cookies and liking them.
That's the only theft I've dabbled in. Cookie stealing in first grade.
You know, I wouldn't call you a cookie monster, though. I'd call you a cookie goblin.
Why?
I don't know, because...
Because I look more like a goblin.
No, just because there already is a cookie monster, which I had, if you recall, when I was 3, I had a cookie monster coat with Cookie Monster head and the eyes on the coat.
I didn't know
Because there's
you
a picture
then.
that floats around the house of me in that getup.
I didn't see it, but I'd like to.
So I have kind of a close thing with Cookie Monster.
Can I tell you something?
What? Uh-oh.
No, it's
Oh.
a good thing.
Oh, okay.
I just really appreciate you.
You do?
I do.
Oh, thank you.
I do. You know, I take it for granted because I get to be around you all the time.
The same.
But I don't think many people do the thing that you do, which is choose to talk about topics instead of people.
Instead of shit talk people.
Yes. And
Well, it's so tempting to, isn't it?
yeah.
It's so juicy.
It
It's our
is.
little monkey brain.
I know, but it's
Not nice.
it's just not healthy to do.
I'm going to give Bradley even more credit. You're going to hear a lot of Bradley credit coming your way because we recorded an episode that really leaned heavily into the lessons Bradley's taught me.
Yeah.
But another one he taught me that I thought I really took to heart was when someone tells me something shitty about another person, I don't think poorly of the person they said that about. I think more about what kind of person they are that they just said that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's and I was like, once he articulated in that way, I was like, you're right. It says way more about me than it does you. And then also a previous realization I had is that I would be like at work, right? And there's a bunch of other actors on set or, in the cast. And I would occasionally say to like one of the producers, like, oh yeah, what time did they arrive? Right? Basically pointing out that they're late.
Right.
And then I was like, the real reason I'm pointing out that they're late is because I'm not late.
Yeah.
So I would never point out something they're both guilty of, like, oh, did they park like an asshole?
Right,
Because
exactly.
I do too.
Exactly.
So I'm really only pointing out things it's basically a declaration of one of my good qualities if I'm pointing out someone else's shitty quality. And then I was like, I don't want to be that guy.
No, but not very many people are putting the dots together that, oh, I have this negative feeling or this thing. Oh, maybe that means this. Like the maybe that means this is not happening with most people. And I just reminded me that you do that all the time, and that's a lovely thing. And I'm grateful that I get to be around that. So
Thank
much.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So it's not horrendous that you left me, went away, and then you just had to return immediately to me.
I was happy too.
Oh, okay, good.
I was very happy too.
Good. Okay, so Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Oh, your dad.
My dad. There were
Your dad, the bounty hunter.
Dad the Bounty Hunter. There were 3 or 4 times where I went into the most bizarre trance, staring at his face, listening to him talk, always when he got emotional. Because that was the cutest thing about my dad is he was very, very alpha and aggressive. And yet he was always seconds away from tearing up and crying about a topic. And it was so sweet.
That's so sweet.
And you know what's funny? This is not a new realization. This is an old one I continue to have over and over again was, of course, I can look at Dog, who has a very flawed past. I mean, the guy was convicted of first-degree murder.
Yeah.
And I can look at him with, like, love and compassion and sympathy because I'm not carrying around the baggage of what he should have been to me as a dad.
Yeah.
And I know if I was a stranger to my dad and I just met him in AA, I would love him. I would love what a soft, tough guy he was. And it was just really fun talking to Dog. And I felt like I was weirdly connected with my dad. But yeah, several times I literally, I thought I was watching my dad talk. Like I had to go, oh my God, that's not him. Like a couple different times I was like, oh my God, it's not him.
That's so sweet. I'm so happy you got that.
Yeah, I really just fell for him. And then as we were about to say in the intro, I just keep researching him. And I'm sending you more and more facts
I know,
about him.
I like it.
It kind of started because I wanted to see him in his prime, like how ripped he was. For people who don't know how motorcycle clubs work, first of all, Devil's Disciples is a real deal. It's not like a bullshit motorcycle 1%er. It's a real one.
Yeah.
And the sergeant at arms is the guy who gets declared the toughest in the group. He is in charge of defending the president. He's got to ride in a certain order while they're riding the motorcycle so he can protect people. He is the
king.
He's the toughest guy. So the fact that he was the sergeant of arms of something, it says a lot. And yet you can see so clearly just the sweetest guy.
I know. It's oh man. It's so interesting because I know he's tough.
Mm-hmm. But you can't even see it now, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
But all I see is like this nice,
Sweet guy who built some armor.
Yeah, that's all I could really see.
And I've said on here too, they're the hardest guys for me to have compassion for. Like when I see a guy out around town who's just got a very kind of alpha display of muscles and tattoos and all this stuff, it's the hardest for me to imagine being sympathetic to them. But again, they're just fucking babies that are born, and then the situation isn't ideal, and then this is just your result.
I know.
Yeah.
And everyone has some level of that. Not necessarily a tattoo-based armor, but everyone has some amount of armor they've built up.
Yeah.
So he said that the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that many times.
Yes. It actually does not come from the Bible.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And
I thought it did.
Yeah. People think it does, but it doesn't. And there are a lot of verses about like beating children and a rod, but not that specifically. And that one, it's from the 17th century poem Hudibras.
Of course it's from Hudibras.
Wait, how do you think this is pronounced? Hudibras. Maybe it's bra.
Hoobastank. The name of a group.
It's from Hoobastank.
It's from Hoobastank.
The original Hoobastank.
The OG.
Written by Samuel Butler.
Okay.
A cheeky British poet who enjoyed mocking religious extremists and hypocrites.
Oh, wow. So it's kind of, he's being quoted, but he was making fun of it. Isn't that great?
I know.
Irony.
I know.
How about this? I'm going to make one up. Let's see if it can stick.
Okay.
Beat that ass. Give him some class.
Oh, I like that. Let's spread that.
I'm going to get that tattooed on my chest.
But you got to put like some numbers by it.
Sure. 215.
Yeah, exactly.
Deuteronomy 8:16.
Yeah.
Beat that ass. Give him some class. And then do the chicken dance on Main Street.
Okay, so he said aloha means I love you. And when he said it, I was like, I'm going to have to say that's wrong.
Well,
But
It means like 8 things, right?
yeah, he's not wrong. Most people think that aloha is a word that means both hello and goodbye. That's what I thought. It is true in Hawaiian. We say aloha both when greeting someone and also saying goodbye, but that is not to be taken literally. The real meaning of aloha in Hawaii is that of love, peace, and compassion.
Oh.
Yeah.
Aloha,
So
Monica.
I'm glad he was right.
Me too.
Me 3. Okay, what did Michael Jackson die of? You said propofol.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it is. No, wait, you said. Oh, maybe. Oh,
That's what I
you
think
said
that's
propofol.
That's what I think it is.
It's anesthetic propofol.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, okay, great.
And
Oh my goodness, there was a big water spill? Yeah. Who spilled it? I want names. Do you want to say hi?
Hey.
Say hi.
Hello,
What's your name?
Delta.
Can you say I love Dog the Bounty Hunter?
I love Dog, the bounty animal.
I do too. Does he remind you of Papa Motorcycle?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love you. Are you an armchair?
Yes.
Okay. I love you.
bye, bunny.
This is the upside of doing these on a Sunday.
It's true.
Get a little D-money
Little
visit.
smooch. Okay, so anesthetic propofol, which is what you said, and anxio. How do I pronounce this? ANXIOLYTIC.
I wish you could see what was in my head after you read all those letters. It just looked like 11 figure eights tangled in a mess.
Yeah, that's what it looks like for anxiolytic. Anxiolytic lorazepam.
Okay, so lorazepam I
Yeah.
know is a benzo. It's like Xanax or, yeah. Okay, so he had a lot of things.
Propofol.
He had to, yeah, and that one just puts you straight to sleep.
Oof.
And the Xanny or the lorazepam, is that what you just said, lorazepam? Yeah.
Pam.
Yeah, that'll get you a little relaxed.
A little dead.
Well, in this case, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you know that the official statement was that his death was a homicide?
Oh, because the doctor had hooked him up to it.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I had to read that a few times. I thought maybe I was wrong. but
Maybe that
that's-
could be Aaron's next documentary, like I Love You Now Die. Because that's a juicy, like,
about like the medical
if
profession.
you ask a guy to hook you up and put you to sleep, but I guess you could go, okay, well, I hired a professional to put me to sleep. He should be able to do that and not kill me.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
But I think if you're hiring people to put you to sleep, it's on you. You might die from that.
Well,
You shouldn't be using propofol to sleep
exactly.
nightly.
But also, a doctor shouldn't agree.
No. The doctor is a scumbag. Let's be
Right,
very clear.
right.
The doctor was a fucking scumbag. I think he was on like a $200,000 a month retainer or something bonkers. And he just traveled around, like not unlike Hitler's doctor,
Yeah.
who just stayed with him all day long and shot him up all the time.
Yeah.
That's kind of my dream,
No.
is to have like a doctor always 2 feet from me that can bring me up or down.
No. No.
Did you just get a little scaby?
I don't know what. Scaby.
There's a few diseases where the title is so gross.
I know.
Like shingles.
Ew.
Oh, it's such a bad
But
name.
scabies is worse than shingles.
Yeah, it's almost like they created to really shame people who got scabies.
I know.
It's almost like calling a disease ickies.
Yeah.
Oh,
is.
Mike came down with ickies.
Ugh.
No, you got to catch
He,
it.
yeah,
he
he
caught
caught ickies. Ugh.
And Jane died of grossies.
So, okay, so speaking of all these drugs, you were talking about fentanyl. You said it's 1,000 times stronger than heroin. It's 50% more potent than heroin, 100% more potent than morphine. And then there's different kinds. So there's this one kind, carfentanil,
Okay.
that's the most potent fentanyl analog detected in the U.S. It's estimated to be 10,000 times more potent than morphine.
10,000.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't want to try that. Also, how do you even, people are doing it? How? Like, if one tiny speck of it can kill an elephant, how are people able to do it? Is my point.
You got to see that penny. You know what it was on? It was on Husson's show, Patriot Act. He did a whole fentanyl episode.
Oh, I
it was
gotta
a really
watch it.
good episode. And they're sprinkling in a little bit of fentanyl into a lot of heroin to up the potency.
Yeah.
Also, they're making fake OxyContin with it. So they're making a big batch of this shit. They're putting some fentanyl in it, and then they make little pills. They stamp out the pills.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have oxycodone in it. It has fentanyl.
But I guess I don't think I'm being very clear about my question. It's because it's a weird
No
question.
one's taking raw fentanyl.
So if you take it raw, you're dead. But if you put it, but even if it's only one tiny
Speck.
if that's in with the other stuff, it's still there.
Well, but they mix it. In theory, they mix it so that it gets evenly distributed throughout this whole batch of
All right.
binding agent,
Okay.
or
so
this
what you're
whole batch of heroin.
getting is like even the tiniest speck of the speck.
Yes, but the
Okay.
problem is the mixing machines don't work that well, nor does the machine that mixes the heroin up. So often they're like, oh, it'll be 1 parts per million, and it's
Right.
the piece you get is 6
The
parts per
whole-
million, and then you're dead.
Ugh.
I know. In a weird way, in a very weird way, it could actually be one element of the solution to the opiate crisis. Because if you could just get predictably good opiates, why would it stop? If people knew their
Right.
dosage. But
Right.
but now that it's spreading, it's like, hey man, that could be
The risk is
22
so
oxycontins or oxycodones, or that could be
Yeah.
half of one. You know.
But do you think people who are addicted can care in the moment? That's the thing.
That is the thing. But
Ugh, it's so heartbreaking.
yeah. I was going to say personally, because I play reindeer games in my head. I play all kinds of reindeer games. I'll be walking through Washington Square Park in New York, and I'm like, oh, I could buy a bag of heroin. I see the people selling them. And then I walk through the whole process, and I'd be dead in the hotel room or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, if you found an actual bottle from the doctor of Vicodin or OxyContin, the game is less obvious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas knowing what I know, even in that fantasy, I'm like, oh, I would never take a pill I found.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't know if it was
Yeah.
real or not. And so maybe the newer generation of kids who might be tempted to try this stuff are like, oh, yeah. And 1 in 10 people die and you don't know what you're getting. I
Right.
feel like that could help,
Stop people from even trying. it.
dissuade people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so. It scares me.
I think a lot of the problem's just going to be shored up because they're just not prescribing that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
They've totally clamped down on that, and way less people are going to have access to the original.
Yeah.
It is crazy because when that crisis first broke, I was kind of like, man, I don't know about blaming companies. I just don't know. To me, it's like, you got to take responsibility. If you're a drug addict, you're a drug addict. It's
I feel
your
like
shit.
you argue that a lot.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the guy who grows coca in fucking South America. Like, I'm mad at the addict who's taking it. Although I've seen enough documentaries now about it where I'm like, no, they were giving out tens of thousands. They were incentivizing these salespeople to, give some of these little tiny corner store pharmacies were getting like 10 million pills a month. And it's like, no, you flooded America with this shit. And exactly what happened, what you would think would happen.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my side of the argument always.
Yeah.
There's some social responsibility companies have to take, even though they're profiting.
Yeah, and, again, it's one of those things where it's positioned as either you think it's their fault or you think it's the addict's fault, and then, of course, it's a combination.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so he said there aren't Bibles in prison.
In the one he was at,
Okay,
let's say that.
we can say that.
Yeah.
But you can find them in some prisons, and you can provide Bibles.
Okay.
There's some websites if anyone wants to send Bibles to prison
Oh, okay.
that you can
Sponsor.
look into. Yeah.
Well, we know for sure there was a Bible in Shawshank Redemption because that's where he kept his little pick.
Yeah, that we know.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
I'm inclined to believe him that there wasn't a Bible in his
Sure.
Texas prison for whatever. Although it does seem weird because you think Texas
You'd
Bible
think,
Belt.
I know. But maybe someone was hoarding it.
Yes. That's
Someone was
possible.
probably hoarding it and pretending like there's just no Bibles here, but really he was keeping it under his pillow.
And using it as rolling papers for dubage.
Or toilet paper.
Or toilet tissue. That is very sacrilegious.
Is there a statute of limitations on felonies? Most violent felony crimes like murder, rape, arson do not have a statute of limitations. Offenders can be charged decades after the crime. Punishments may be as severe as life in prison or the death penalty.
And it's statute, not statue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, it is.
I should build, though, a statue of limitations at the new house.
Yeah, you should. What would it be?
Well, it'd be like a guy coming, like we'll draw a world record line in the sand for the long jump, and then it'll be like a bronze thing.
Oh.
And he'll be coming up just short of it.
Oh.
A statue of limitations.
Or is it like a fence, like something that's an actual limitation?
Oh, uh-huh.
A barrier.
That could work, too.
Maybe he's trying to jump and there's a fence there.
Yeah, or it could be a statue of me as a boy, and then he's holding a book, and you look at the book, and all the letters are backwards.
Oh,
and
it's a bunch of figure eights.
Yes, and it's a statue.
It's just the word anxiolytic or whatever it is.
Yes, which looks like a forest fire to me. Well, I love you.
I love you.
Okay, see you soon.